So if a man is in a position where he is emotionally entangled to his mother and is therefore emotionally underdeveloped, it is likely to be normal for him to hide who he is around his mother in particular and around others. And so when he is around his mother, his true self is unlikely to see the light of day. So he will be expressing his false self. So his needs and feelings will be hidden, and he will act however he believes and however his mother wants him to behave. And when he is around others, he can also play a very similar role, which can mean that he will come across as selfless, easygoing, and as though he has no needs. And when it comes to the other areas of his life, so he may have a job or he may even have a vocation, but this area of his life is likely to be very watered down. And even if he is doing something that he really enjoys, he still might not be able to get very far. And he could often have setbacks and find that he is unable to go to the next level. And so deep down he will have this need, most likely, to stay small and not to grow. And this is going to prevent him from being able to freely express who he is and to live a life that reflects who he is. And if he was able to wake up and to realize what is going on, to see that he is in his mother's shadow and that he is not expressing his own magnificence, then what he may find is that if he was to just imagine expressing who he is and freely living his own life, he starts to experience fear and anxiety, and he could feel guilty and ashamed. So instead of this being something that is right, it will feel as though it is wrong. And the reason why he will be having this experience is most likely due to what took place during his early years and the impact that this had on him. And so during his early years, his mother probably used him to meet some of her adult and unmet childhood needs, so he won't have received what he needed in order to grow and develop. Because of course these needs were not just there for no reason, they were there so that he could receive what he needed and go through each developmental stage and to become a man who could handle life, who could thrive. And whenever he expressed his needs, he probably would have been punished, disapproved of, and or abandoned, and most likely this took place anyway. And so he would have learned very early on that the only way for him to survive was to please his mother, was to hide who he was and to focus on her needs. And so way back, he had to develop a false self. And so now that he's an adult, many years will have passed, and he will have grown physically and perhaps mentally, but his emotional self will still be in this underdeveloped state. And he will believe that if he was to freely express himself and to no longer be in his mother's shadow, he would end up dying. And so, in order for him to experience life differently, he will need to know at the core of his being that it is safe for him to reveal who he is and to freely express himself. Because when he is expressing himself, he is not doing this to be better than others or to get one over someone else. He is simply going to be expressing who he is. And this is something that should feel safe, because if he is unable to freely express himself, then it is not going to be possible for him to truly evolve as a human being. And when it comes to his mother, she probably won't even encourage him to freely express himself, and she may just see him as her possession. And so she will be entitled to his attention, his time, and perhaps his resources, because she won't realize, due to her own lack of development, most likely she was also used by one of her parents. She won't be able to see other people as separate from her. And this is partly why she would have used him to meet her needs. And so the support and encouragement that he could do with at this point in his life is not going to be, most likely, is not going to be coming from her. And this is why he will probably need to reach out for external support from a therapist or a healer, so he can start to explore what took place during his early years and to question what he believes, to receive the validation for his inner experiences, because most likely for most of his life his inner reality will have been invalidated, and because other people, his mother in particular, invalidated his inner world from the beginning, most likely he will also invalidate himself. So he may dismiss how he feels and what he thinks and his own perceptions, because this is what took place very early on. And so with this external support, he can start to listen to himself and to work through his inner wound, so he can live the life that he was born to live, which is a great life, which is a life where he doesn't just survive. To find out more about the services that I offer and how I can assist you on your journey, go to www.oliverjrcooper.co.uk or email me at info@oliverjrcooper.co.uk. I'm looking forward to assisting you on your journey.